Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Nigerian Chess Community Server. My name is Oyele Olawale, and I'm going to be the host of this wonderful lecture. And also with me is Fide Master Fowley John Oyemi. Of course, he is the brain behind this wonderful lecture that is about to start. We needed to make something happen in this Nigerian chess community, and we promise we'll be giving you wonderful lectures, debate, and other programs for the rest of the year. And it is open to everyone. Everybody can benefit from these initiatives, and one of it is this lecture teaching how to checkmate with a knight and a bishop. As a matter of fact, it's something that I don't know my possible self. I actually don't know how to checkmate with a knight and a bishop. But I've seen situations whereby players can't actually perform the checkmate themselves because of, I don't know, one reason or the other. And I could tell you, quite frankly, from a game that happened during the National Chess Championship 2023 in the Masters category. Actually, two players played to that point, having a knight and a bishop, and unfortunately, they couldn't finish the game. I think that game should be against, I can't remember vividly, but against the winner in the under 2000 category of the Richard Atabor Memorial Tournament recently. He couldn't. But guess what? There was a junior player called Collins, all the way from Abuja. He was playing against the Women International Master Ansel from South Africa, who is a special shout out to her. She's a chess school lecturer. And they got to the position whereby the boy had the bishop, king, and knight. And guess what? The boy was able to deliver the checkmate to the bishop and knight using some of the tricks that Candidate Master Job Atabor is going to be teaching us here. And I'm seeing even some in the chat box. I'm seeing some people, for example, the likes of Zlata, the woman on the inside, saying that he missed that position, not knowing how to checkmate recently in a tournament, and probably the game had to end in a draw, which I guess this lecture is going to help him to solidify his idea regarding this idea as fast as possible. So, without further ado, please let us welcome to our wonderful fold, one and only Candidate Master Atabor Job.
Good afternoon, sir. Chief Will. Good afternoon, everyone.
Special good afternoon, sir.
I'm really happy to be here.
We're so glad to have you here.
I hope I'm audible enough.
Yep, you're perfectly audible enough. Honestly, 100% so audible. So, let us delve into it. Bishop, knight, and king. How to checkmate. Can you please walk us through the parts so that we can be perfect in these kind of scenarios, and all our viewers and our well-wishers will also be able to perform this knight bishop mate, even if they are sleeping or they wake them up 2 a.m. or they're even playing blind chess. Over to you, sir.
Yes. This is one of they say this is the most difficult checkmate according to people. A lot of people, especially those that don't know the ideas behind checkmate. So it's very instructive because it will help us learn a lot more about chess. You see, chess is a game that requires a lot of understanding, not memorization, as interesting as it may sound. Because the 64 squares are there, and the squares, during the game, the squares cannot change from 64 to maybe 75 or 80 or 100. They are 64, that is a constant. So taking advantage of the fact that the squares are constant and they don't change, all you need to do is to maximize your control of the squares while you are minimizing the control of your opponent's squares. The moment you are able to achieve that, which is a general principle for chess, the moment you are able to cut off as much as possible the squares available to your opponent, you find out that you are left with no other option but check or checkmate or stalemate. Stalemate because opponents stop to play, and they won't have where to go. So it becomes a stalemate. So you are going to see such in these lectures as people see, because I am currently, I thought about the best resource to use, and then I discovered that okay, Lichess already has like a study on it. So you can see from Lichess, the steps are outlined as it is. The first step is to restrict black's king. That is in the event that you are white and your opponent is black. You can see some triangles that have been drawn there. The first step is to restrict black's king to one of the green triangles. We see on the board in this position, we try to control the long diagonal with triangle with our bishop, and we also control necessary dark squares using our knight and king. So that's the principle usually. But there are two methods. The first one, which is the one that you can see on the screen here, with all these plenty triangles, is called the dilettante method. I think it's dilettante that discovered that. While the other one is called the W method. The one that is called the W method is the one most people are used to. And they are used to that because it's more straightforward, I see. Much more straightforward, and it's easier to remember. You get. But the important thing you need to understand, maybe after this class, if you want to have more, you can go through this Lichess resource. See the introduction, epic failure, restricting the king to the first triangle, restricting the king to the these restrictions that you are seeing here are the dilettante method. While trying to mate with bishop and knight and king, for those that are fond of believing hook, line, and sinker anything their engine says, this class is especially important for you. The best solution you can have sometimes is to be sure of your idea and not rely on what the computer is saying. Why I say this is because when we go into practice, you might be seeing the computer say mate in 30, and then I make a move. The thing might just go to mate in 35 or plus 88 or plus 99 advantage or whatever. Ignore all those things. Focus on what is going on the board. At the end of the day, yes, I might not be as accurate as the computer, but surely you're going to get the beat. And you discover that you might be earlier by 2 moves, or you might be later by 3 or 4 moves. So, I don't know if that is making sense already. At this point in time, I would like to show us how not to mate with knight and bishop. And this is the game that happened in 2013 in Geneva, Switzerland. You people must have known that Anna Ushenina is a grandmaster, same as Olga Giria. Olga Giria, I think she was the minister for education for home country also. I'm not too sure. Georgia also, be their minister for education or foreign minister for something. So now, we go into the game quickly. I'll brush certain things. Anna Ushenina is white, and after such a very complex game, we are not bothered about what really happened in the game. Our concern is the eventual position. As you can see, Olga has sacrificed a piece for some pawns. Why I'm pausing here is because it's going to bring us back to the bishop and knight ending. So, Ushenina is a bishop, but Olga has. See at this point that Anna Ushenina, grandmaster, is a bishop, but is it woman grandmaster Olga or grandmaster Olga? I'm not too sure which one. It has compensations in terms of pawns. I'm just rushing through because there is an important position we have to get to. And the idea behind this position, as you can see, there's compensation for a piece, but Olga is a whole piece down, considering that 3 other pawns can compensate for one of the other pieces. Now, it gets interesting from here. We are trying to see how a bishop and knight checkmate position can occur. And here you have it. He now has 3 pawns. And I believe Black's idea is that they feel White will not be able to do the bishop and knight checkmate. And this brings us to the reason for this lecture. You see the interesting position, 3 pawns, bishop and knight. Now you have 2 ordeals. First ordeal is cleaning up the pawns and ensuring that no one gets queen on the other side of your board, otherwise you're lost. Or best case scenario, you'll be lucky to get a draw. The second ordeal, which is the reason we are here, is how to now coordinate your pieces and checkmate them. Let's proceed. So, you could observe from here that White delayed capturing the black pawn to improve their king's position. However, was that enough? We'll find out. This is what I was telling you about, that when you are coming into the final stages of bishop and knight checkmate, you have to be extremely careful not to stalemate your opponent. In this position, capturing this black pawn with your white king's stalemate with immediate effect. But you can tap it with your white knight. Black is just playing, should I say, tricks at this point. He captures. I don't even understand what that move is doing. Sincerely, I don't understand what that move is doing. I thought a better move would have been king here. Okay, it's still stalemate. Bishop here, bishop b3 or d1 would have been a better move, because your king is supposed to circle. Your bishop has the squares already controlled, the necessary squares. Now, we have 2 options in this position. The only way to checkmate the black king is to either take the black king to the h1 square by force, or push the black king to the a8 square by force. I know when I say by force, you might start wondering, how can I actually force the black king? Is it that I'm going to carry the black king by myself and move the black king, or what? That's what you're going to find out in this lecture. But before that, let us see how White was able to display this game, and it ended in a draw. Knight here, king up. Check, yes. Fine. White was beginning to get the idea. White was beginning to get the idea. See the W variation. The W variation is usually like knight comes here, knight comes here, knight comes here, knight comes here, and that completes the W. But let us see how White was able to miss it along the line. That was premature. That was premature. At this point, knight coming here was better, because it closes these escape squares, these dark squares, 1, 2, 3. Because the moment the black king can get into this dark square, it gets to escape, right? Knight coming here was 100 times better. So, first error, bishop came here. The king has escaped again. The king has escaped again. King has escaped. Are you seeing where the king is running to? The king is running to to the h8 diagonal so that the sequence will start again. Bear in mind that there was the 50 move rule whereby if you don't capture any piece, it becomes a draw. You can see the king. It's good when you watch this kind of heartbreaking moments. Okay, now, fine. You come back into this position, forcing the king from here, h8, h1. Your bishop is already guarding, your bishop is already guarding the g8 diagonal. Why move the bishop away? Why not bring your knight here? Check. The king comes here, bring your bishop to f7, so that the king cannot have that g8 square. It has to go in. You bring your bishop to g8. He doesn't have the h7 square. He's now forced to go in this way, and then you come back and meet him. Let's see how it continues. He goes back there. That's the only way that is the black is aware of how to die and is doing his best to prevent himself from dying like that. Okay, now you want to force him to the a8 diagonal. Let's see how it goes. You've gotten the idea. No, you're missing it. This is the point where you do the W variation. The beauty about the W variation is that, interestingly, bringing your knight to e5 blocks the d7 diagonal. So it's square, not diagonal. So the king may want to rush to d8, and then you follow with your king. That is how simple this variation is. Let's watch how. It's very obvious that white does not have the mating technique, and that's the reason why he kept on missing it separately. And black claimed a draw due to the 50 move rule. Very painful loss. Very, very painful loss. So we can see from the Lichess resource. I want to move straight into it. This was one I completed before this class started, just to make sure that I still remember the mating technique. You could see along the move order that I missed some moves and it kept giving advantage, but that is irrelevant. What is relevant is the accuracy of the idea. The fact that the idea is good. So in this position, you can now see that I have the choice of choosing where I would like to mate the black king. Notice that here we have the LSB being light squared bishop. So as much as possible, to give your bishop the actual dominance it deserves, the very important principle you have to abide by is to limit the number of times that your king or your knight blocks the eye of your bishop. That's the first one. The second one is, since you have a light squared bishop, the only light squares on which you can checkmate the king by fourth are the A8 square or the H1 square. You may be lucky to get a checkmate if any of these squares on the board. That is pure luck. Positionally, I remember Judy Poga ever had that kind of position against the Grandmaster where he checkmated the king on h5, if I remember that position correctly. I'm not sure about the name of the Grandmaster anyway, but he checkmated him on h5. I don't know if it was Atabor also, but if you check your archives, Judy Poga did bishop and knight checkmate in an actual competition. I wouldn't remember if it was Melody Ambas, because Melody Ambas is usually blindfold and it was and rapid at that. I wouldn't remember if that was it, but maybe you check bishop. Now, it is my turn to play. They say say I should practice with the computer. Keeping up with that principle, I want to make the black either here or here. So coming here is not a good move. I would rather prefer to come here. Now, pushing your king up the board is very important. It's very interesting how this looks like I'm wasting time, right? Looks like I am wasting time. Keeping with our move, you can see I bring the bishop in, I introduce the bishop. I introduce the knight. Introduce the knight again. We check. Bishop comes here. Beautiful. Bishop comes here again. The knight, the W variation starts. The knight blocks the square. See the square the knight blocked, right? So the king comes closer, and the reason this king comes closer is because I plan on the first part of the W, which is the first V. Blocks here, here, here. Now, the bishop has to come in as well. And this is what the bishop does. Blocks that square. The king comes here. This knight is already blocking this square and this square. The bishop comes here again. You can see this square was deprived of. The bishop still comes here again. The king comes to this position because you have to keep making progress. Then your bishop covers this key square, so that there is no escape. Your bishop again covers the key square. Again, we do this. Then see the interesting part now. Now you understand why the W variation is the W variation. We complete our W variation by a first check. That's the only square the king has. Bring our king here. So at this point, it's just a matter of rearranging your pieces. You bring your king in here so that it clears the way for the mate. So your knight comes here, and then you have this beautiful move where you can bring your, because you have to come here. Yes, this is the move. And then you have check here, and you have mate here. So computer said mate in 30, but because I followed the idea and the principle, not minding whether I was getting it correct or not, but making sure I was following the idea of, first of all, using my king as opposition, and then secondly, using my bishop to block light squares, then thirdly, introducing my knight and using my king and knight to force the black king to the other side of the board where I am supposed to deliver checkmate. As you can see, from any random position on the board, it takes about 30 moves, approximately 30 moves to deliver this checkmate. If you keep the principles in mind, and what are the principles? The first principle, let me return back here. This is the dilettante method. I don't really know this method, but on your own, you could go into lichess and study this method. The first step is to restrict black's king to one of the green triangles. According to them, that is their own first step. The first thing to note is that we can only checkmate the king in the corner of the board with the same color as our bishop, which is in this example A8 or H1. as we can see. If we had a dark squared bishop, we could only checkmate black by force. That is the key word. By force on A1 or H8. It doesn't mean we cannot checkmate any other square at the edges of the board. But what it means is that if black plays correctly, white has to play correctly and forcefully checkmate black, either on A1 or H8 when white has a dark square bishop. Black will therefore try to stay in the center of the board, and if they can't, then they will move towards the wrong corner of the board, meaning a corner in which we can checkmate. That is a corner that has two diagonals of the color of your bishop. That is what they mean by wrong corner. In this example, black will try to stay around here as much as possible. Sorry, around here, the center, or here and here as much as possible. If you recall this game, sorry, where is it? Epic failure. If you recall this game, you discover that black obeyed the principle of staying in the center of the board as much as possible. If not in the center of the board, black tried their best to always go to the wrong diagonal where it cannot be mated. You understand? So at this point, I would want to try to do the same checkmate with a dark squared bishop and see if okay, to do it with a dark squared bishop, let me refresh this page and see what happens. Good. So dark squared bishop, this is a good move to start with, a very good move to follow up with. You can see the position has been established. You can see the opposition has been established. Bring your king in again. I can check him if I like. Good. The position has been established. So I move in with my king. Okay. I can do this, preventing him from going there. No. I won't do this because if I do this, he will come here. So it's better I enter the position with my king. I bring this here. Now we start the variation. Come here first. Block the square. It looks like he's moving away. He's not going anywhere. Block the square. Block the square. Block the light square. Block the dark square. Block the dark square again. Block the dark square again. Bring your king in. Block that escape square. Block it again. Complete the W method by a forceful check. Come back here. Then what do you do at this point? You just block this square to enable your king gets into position. Bring your king here. You have to block this escape square. Very important. So you see this move here, and then you check, and then you checkmate. So we did 30 moves on the spot. I guess at this point I would attend to questions now, because we've done it with light square bishop, we've done it with dark square bishop, and we just followed the principles, the W method, and we arrived at our solution. So any questions, please?
Thank you very much, Candidate Master Job Atabor. This is very, very refreshing, I can guarantee. And anybody has any questions towards this, at least by now, I can now sit down now and go and challenge. Who is the number one rated player in Nigeria again? Please, they can bring him on. Bishop and Knight mate, I already have that one. I can use that one to meet anybody. Yes. Who's there? We have, anybody have any questions? Probably just send us through an emoticon. We can, if there is no question, we'll probably just end the class immediately. That's just what it is. It's a wonderful lecture. I still love it.
Before we end the class, I would like to use the opportunity to say that this top you see me wearing was a special gift from a very special personality, the secretary of CPAN, fashioned to Flogway. It was given to me for my 34th birthday some years ago, 3 years ago, precise. So it's an opportunity for me to use in showing my deepest appreciation to him because I least expected it. So I thank you all for this opportunity. So you people should help me thank that wonderful individual. Please.
We will. A special shout out to Mr. Tulu Fashiono. Thank you very much. God bless you. And I'm also looking for my own shirt. You will deliver for everybody. Anyways, it was we said it. The lecture was going to be for 30 minutes, and Candidate Master Job Atabor delivered, and it was so smooth. With the W method right now, we could checkmate anybody with the bishop and the knight. Once again, thank you very much, everybody. We really appreciate you. Till we meet next time, we'll have another fantastic package for you. Bye for now. I remain sincerely yours, Chief Wales, your favorite national officer.